everyone, my name is Nina Zeta and I'm Director of Partnerships at Sidewalker Daily. And today we're going to talk about a really great subject, which is how to negotiate, as an influencer, as a creative, as a blogger, all about negotiations. Now, let me just kind of give you the rundown. Our agency, we work with travel brands on their influencer marketing. So a lot of times we are the ones that you're negotiating with. But just know that I always have you guys in mind. And I think what makes our agency special is when we're talking to people on the brand side, we're always trying to show them the creative side as well. And that's because we want it to be a win-win partnership. And that's when it feels good, is when it feels good for both people and both parties. But with that said, I know that negotiating is always a little stressful, especially for the creatives, because it's not really meant to be your core strength, right? You guys are really good at the creative side maybe and content side, but maybe when it comes to getting what you want or negotiating with a brand, you may feel a little bit insecure, and it's totally normal. I think for this video, what I'd like to do is just kind of walk you through some concepts and some ideas to help you, feel a little bit more confident so that when you are going into negotiations, you're ready. And just to back up, I was thinking about it as I said it. If you're even going into negotiations as an influencer or blogger or creative, hats off to you, because you've gotten so far, you've gotten far enough that brands want to work with you. So now it's just figuring out, how to really tie it all in together. So I think the first, word of wisdom would be to know what you want, and one thing that you can ask yourself is in the negotiation process, is this pulling me away from my goal or towards it, when a brand is countering? There are times that it is perfectly acceptable to say no, and you very well should know your own, that's what it's important to know what you want, right? Because that's at some point, saying yes to every opportunity that comes around isn't good for your brand. It's kind of overly saturates your brand as well. It shows that you're willing to work with anyone and everything. And we know influencers that every week it feels like they have a new brand that they're working with, and it takes away from it. So knowing what you want, what type of influencer or creator do you want to be, is going to help you kind of set those boundaries. The second tip would be to, ask for that budget rather than waiting for them to ask you for their rates. It always kind of becomes a song and dance, right? They'll ask you for your rates and then you'll be like, well, what's your budget? So go for it first, shoot for it first. And it's really great knowing what a brand's budget is off the top, because then you can tailor make a package for them. Let's just say you think that they have this insane budget and they really don't. It'd be a really big waste of your time to create a proposal without even knowing where you're going. And yes, brands may be hesitant to tell you what their budget is, because they may just kind of some of them will know right away, and some are just yeah, but ask for a ballpark, because it's going to help you create what it is that you can do for that rate. It's going to make the negotiation process way easier. Our next tip, don't be afraid. That might sound kind of elementary, but it's true. It's really rare you're going to get what you want off the first, off the bat. Think about if you put your house on sale. People don't really buy the home for what the listing price is. There's always negotiation. And I know that makes some people uncomfortable because it's a little bit of a back and forth, but that's why you need to, go back to knowing what you want. You also need to know your bottom line. This is what your number is, and you're not going to go below it. And by putting value in, by knowing your value, and you as a, entrepreneur in this space, you're just doing that brand also a favor. You're saying, I'm going to create quality work for you, but I'm not going to be doing it for free. And also when you're, it's doing things that you don't feel compensated the right way, it just makes you feel all ick, and your attitude is going to be off. And I've felt like that many times with clients. We feel like we're not getting necessarily paid enough. And that just makes you not necessarily want to work with them again. That's just kind of what it is. So know your bottom line so you don't get to that place of not feeling good about it. So the next tip on knowing how to negotiate with a brand is doing your research. Before you even pitch to them about what, sometimes I find that a lot of content creators just pitch content that they want to do versus what that brand may need. So research them. Maybe that hotel has a really I don't know, ick blog. Their blog is like sad, it's not optimized, and you know everything about SEO. Well, rather than just doing like Instagram posts for them or a post on your site for them, why not take this as an opportunity to see, maybe you can help them with their own website blog or helping them, grow their own traffic on their site. It's really about like taking the time to figure out what they're lacking and then how you can supplement that. And when you find the holes, I guess, in their equation and you find like the weak spots, your job should be to fill them. And that's what's going to make you valuable. Also, another reason research is so important is because you want to make sure that you're not necessarily replicating something that they've already done. Now, there may be a case that the brand wants to just do the same exact thing with a different creator, and that's fine. But the whole point is, I think, is for you guys to kind of come to the table with something different, right? To make you stand out, to make you attractive. And that's only going to help you get the business. One example is now that Instagram is allowing people to do their own custom filters, Spark AR, they opened it up. Before you had to be like accepted to this program, but now anyone can create a filter. So let's just say you're going to this brand and you're like pitching, whatever, a package, and you're trying to negotiate on like what it is that you want. If you come in and you're like, you know what, I'm going to create a custom filter for you on top of what it was I was going to be delivering, that's gonna, I think, help you be in a stronger position to negotiate because you're like doing something that's like new and cool and innovative. So whenever you are trying to negotiate with a brand, try to take it to the next level creatively. What can you do for them creatively that they can't do in-house? Another tip to ensure that you're negotiating, correctly is have that case study ready. If you've watched any of our videos, you'll probably know I'm like a case study freak. I freaking love them. I just think they're so helpful. They really help show your value because they're showing, it's like lifting the curtain of a certain campaign and showing everything you were able to provide to them in terms of like influence or content or whatever it is that you were tasked to do. So when you're negotiating and you feel like, a little short-sighted or the brand isn't really understanding you, if you have that case study to send their way, it's kind of like that ace. It's kind of like the ace card, in poker, you're basically being like, okay, well, look what I've done in the past. I'm going to be able to do this for you. And it sets you apart versus if you don't have that tool, it may be harder to negotiate and get it, what it is that you're looking for. Another really big tip, I think, when it comes to negotiating is knowing your bottom line and also like being a little bit flexible with the compromise, right? Expect those counters. People on the marketing side, we're going to like give a number and we're going to expect to counter with you. So don't be surprised and don't be afraid when you get that counter, but feel free to counter back. If we say no, we say no. And then it's up to you to decide if that's what you want or what you don't want, but you don't know unless you ask. So it's really, really helpful, I think, for you guys to make sure that you're countering, but you also know your bottom line, what it is that you need to make this partnership go through. And that's something only that you can decide. I think that can also be linked to like knowing when to walk away. Negotiating and like good negotiators, they also just know when to walk away. They know it's not the last fish in the sea. They know there's going to be other opportunities. While they're hungry, they also know that they need to, get bread to feed or whatever the expression is. Like, you just got to walk away sometimes and be okay with that and just move on. That's why it's not, even for us when we're pitching new business and when we're negotiating, we also just kind of know, okay, this is what it is. And if we can't get it, then we're ready to walk away and not spend too much of your time. Because a lot of times brands will also just be there like to time suck and just like a lot of the back and forth. So know when to pull out. I think that's a fair statement. And it goes back to valuing your time. Ultimately, practice makes perfect. The more you start negotiating with different brands and the more you realize like, hey, I put something out there and actually got what I want, the more confident you're going to feel about it. So practice makes perfect. Try to use every opportunity that you have when you're pitching and when you are in that negotiating phase, and think of it as like, what can you learn from this lesson? What is a lesson that you can learn from this negotiation so you can bring it with you into your next one? A secret kind of little tip is a little silence can go a long way. for you guys, like maybe if you have, if you made your counter and you made your bottom line and you let us know what it is, don't follow up right away. Let us kind of sit on the brand side and like feel it out or sweat it out. And that's what I mean by like, silence can go a long way. Sometimes not speaking and not reaching out and not following up has way more, I guess, weight to it, because it kind of makes people on the brand side be like, well, they're not going to budge, So learn to, shut it off and know when to not continue. I think that could be really helpful for you guys. And I guess lastly, my last tip for negotiating with brands as a blogger or creative is just treating everyone with respect. I know that probably goes without saying, but hey, if you couldn't make that deal, no problem. It is what it is. And just wish people like the very best and always keep it good and clean, because you never know who from that brand is going to be working at a future brand. In the PR world, especially, people are jumping from company to company. So you never want to be that rude influencer or creative that didn't get her way or his way and just like angry, because that person on the brand side may not want to work with you for future gigs. And to speak to that, there have been situations that like I've worked with an influencer on a brand. We couldn't reach a deal because that client just didn't have the budget for it. But then when I got a new client, I went back to them because I was like, okay, well, they were super kind. They were respectful. We wanted to make it work. This was just their bottom line and I couldn't meet that, but I went back to them when I could. So that just kind of like, shows you that if you're a good person and just make everyone feel kind of like good about this partnership, even if you can't work with us and then, the partnership doesn't end up lifting off, it still really helps to always treat people in your negotiation process kindly and with respect. So I hope you guys found this video helpful and like giving you some tips on negotiation. Again, bottom line, be confident in your work. If you really believe in what you're doing and you feel good about it, then that's the energy that you need to bring to every negotiation you walk into. If you liked this video and you found it helpful, make sure to like it and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.